I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I'll just write, "Yes."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian. It's getting laughs in the room. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person. What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like how do you think a person's life is going who spends time going, you suck?
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on?
Yeah.
And who's doing well?
Good point.
Welcome back to another episode of Comedians Coping with Criticism. This time we've got Tom Segura counseling Mark Normand on how to block out the haters by becoming completely emotionless and learning how to externalize the blame. This episode would have been so much better if Bert was here. First Protect Our Parks replaced Sober October, and now Mark Normand has replaced Bert Kreischer on Two Bears, One Cave. And you know Bert's watching this right now to catch up on what happened while he was away. He skips through all the boring bits called conversation and goes straight to the parts where they're talking about him.
That to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy.
Yeah. And you're like, go see your children. You have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
Stick around until the end of this video, Bert. I've got you covered, buddy. Shitting on you has become mandatory for guests on Two Bears, and we're all here for it. But it was only a couple of weeks ago that Big J Okerson was on the We Might Be Drunk podcast with Mark and Sam, where he brought up this very channel, saying how he watches it, just like Bert does, to keep up with everything happening in the podcast world. Mark and Sam weren't convinced though. Sam tried to shut it down, even though his producer admitted to his face that he watches my videos, and Mark made the comment that we all don't realize how sensitive comedians are. So it looks like Mark is starting to suffer from the same fate as his comedy podcasting buddies, who can't seem to cope with even the slightest criticism of their work. And I've always been a fan of Mark Normand. I think he's one of the few Rogan comedians who still understands the idea of a comedy podcast. His work on Protect Our Parks in trolling Rogan is pretty much unmatched at this point. The sad thing is, though, now that he's made it big through multiple JRE appearances, he's starting to sound just like the rest of them.
You know, we get so busy, you got kids, you got the career, you got a TV show, you're all over the place. So like now to hang out with your friends, you almost have to monetize it.
I know.
You have to make it like a podcast just to like get some hang time.
That's 100%. Like if I'm home and someone's like, "Hey, let's just hang out," I'm like, "I can't hang out, dude.
I can't hang out.
Yeah, I just got home." Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. My wife's like, "You never come home," and I'm like, "We should do a pod."
Yeah,
that's what you did.
That's what I did. That's right.
Smart. You get to see your wife.
Actually, no joke. That is sometimes like the most time we'll spend together in a week. And you leave and you're like, we got 20 things to do.
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
But but at least you can monetize this. Now you're getting paid to hang out with your wife, which, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
God damn it.
God damn lady. Did you see...
That's some of the saddest shit I've ever heard come out of Mark's mouth. Imagine not being able to hang out with your buddies unless you're making money. Like, how much fucking money do these guys need? They act as if every minute of their lives has to be accounted for, like they're billing their wives in 6-minute increments like a lawyer. I remember when Whitney Cummings brought this up on Flagrant a couple of years ago and got completely shut down by Andy and the Toy Story boys.
We're in a very high-risk profession, and it used to be, I think, the way that we stayed sane was having offline conversations in the, in the green room, in the hallway, and now it's like, save it for the pod. Like, we're monetizing all of our conversations, like, for public consumption, which is great. It's healing a lot of people. People love it. Can I finish before you roll your eyes? All right, can I finish before you roll your eyes?
That makes so much sense. Think about all the times you've heard Bert tell Tom or Andrew Schultz tell Joe Rogan something on a podcast and they had absolutely no idea about it. I always think to myself, how the fuck don't you know that about one of your best friends? And it's usually something fairly important. It's like they rock up to the studio and literally press record as soon as they get there. I mean, Joe Rogan still hasn't even seen Andrew Schultz's latest comedy special.
My favorite form of entertainment by far is stand-up comedy. Like straight up, I'm a fanboy of comedians. Andrew Schultz, Life, did you watch his?
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
No.
So how do you take infertility, right? And just, it's not really a very funny subject and make it incredible.
Bro brought his knee pads to JRE and left with Rogan's PIN number, but it just goes to show how fake the world of comedy podcasting is. They all claim to be super tight and hang out all the time, but the reality is they have to justify everything in financial terms. Do you think all of the assassins who hang out in the mothership green room at Rogan's club would be there if they weren't getting paid? These are the guys who supposedly turned their backs on Hollywood to do their own thing, only to recreate Hollywood's toxic ecosystem in Austin, where everything's a transaction. The worst part for me is how stupid they think we all are. That's always been a gripe of mine, whether it's Rogan calling anyone who criticizes him a mentally ill loser who works at 7-Eleven or Subway, or when Tom Segura went full scorched earth when some of his fans told him that nobody gives a fuck about his luxury watch and supercar collections. According to these guys, if you don't find everything they say funny, it's all your fault.
And I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I'll just write, "Yes."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian. It's getting laughs in the room. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person.
I think I did for a long time too.
Yeah.
And then it's also so much more pleasant not to engage.
I know.
Like don't get worked up.
Yeah.
You just see it and you just kind of go, "It's whatever."
What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like you're getting to a point where once you do stand up long enough, not everyone's ever going to like you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure.
Like not everyone likes whoever you want. Chris Rock,
Right.
Seinfeld.
That's true.
Like there's people who go like, "I hate this person. I hate what they're saying. They're not funny."
Yeah.
So you're like, well, if like the top of the food chain gets that, you know, the rest of us have to get it too.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going, are those guys engaging with people who
No.
No, of course not. So I just go, I'll post the thing, and if someone doesn't like it, I just go, yeah, cool, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Neil Brennan had that great joke where he said, if you look at Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or whatever the famous one is, the first comment is gay. And you're like, well, there you go. It's like this beautiful piece of music that's lasted for centuries. And we're like,
this is gay.
Exactly. So that's all you need to know, folks.
I went and looked up that bit from Neil Brennan. He doesn't actually say the top comment was gay. He said that there was a Beethoven Fifth Symphony video on YouTube with 10,000 dislikes. And his point was that dislikes don't mean much anymore because Beethoven's Fifth is one of the greatest pieces of music in history. It was a bit from a stand-up show. He wasn't actually comparing comedians to Beethoven like Mark just did. The cope from these guys is just next level, and I actually thought Tom had a pretty fair perspective when he was saying that once you reach a big enough critical mass, not everyone's going to like you, so you just have to deal with it. But then, as usual, Tom told us what he's really thinking.
And also, this is the other one. How do you think a person's life is going who spends time going, "You suck"?
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on
Yeah.
and who's doing well?
Good point.
I mean, like,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The funny thing is, wherever Tom goes on the internet, whether it's a video with a watch dealer reviewing his collection, or he's driving a new supercar around London, even just a clip from his comedy specials, there's always a ton of comments basically saying, "You suck." I mean, have you guys seen pretty much anything Bert Kreischer posts anywhere? Or when Rogan posts anything comedy related on Instagram and Twitter, 90% of the comment sections are just roasting them because they suck. But of course, it's because we're all mentally ill losers with nothing going on in our lives. It couldn't possibly be because ever since Tom got rich and got a gym membership, he became a massive douchebag. Speaking of douchebags, Bert, I didn't forget about you, buddy. Once Tom and Mark got onto the topic of how much comedy has changed since they started, it didn't take long for your name to come up.
yeah, we had when I was starting, thank God, there was no reference for like, get this clip up and going.
I know.
We didn't have any of that. It was really, I got so in on the club system. And when I had seen, like, I worked with some people that sold out a weekend.
Yes.
I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. They're getting too distracted.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse because you have the internet. You can just put it all out there. You can expose yourself, get a ton of fans, but also anonymity is a gift. Get good in the shadows first,
Totally.
but they want it too quick. It's sad. It's depressing, but I think it's just the way it is now.
Yeah. That is really. Oh my God! Can you imagine how much Bert would have posted?
Oh God, I know. Jeez, that would be scary.
You've toured with him
Many times.
I'm assuming you've had like long nights with him, right?
Oh my God! So many nights in Europe were wild. We went to a strip club in Copenhagen, I think, called the Waterloo, and he's getting a lap dance FaceTiming Leanne. And you're like, this is crazy. I mean, he came to my bachelor party. That was insane. He'll be like, after party at this bar. And I'm like, we're going somewhere else, right? And he's like, no, we're going there.
That to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy. Was when he like started to like really sell tickets, and then I'd see a video, and I was like, what's going on in that bar? He's like, oh, at the end of my show, I told everyone, let's go to this bar. I'm like, you told the show to go to the bar.
That's insane.
It's insane.
And you're like, go see your children. you have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
I just was like, I go, to me, I'm like, everything is just based on being tired. I'm like, aren't you just tired? And he's like, no.
He isn't. That's why he has to tour with like younger people.
Yeah.
Because they can keep up with him. It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's going to be sad when he's gone.
How soon? What's your bet?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spill the tea here, but every time I've been to his house, I can't help but notice the amount of pill bottles next to his bed. It's like 38 of those orange pill bottles, and you're like, is all that for your liver? What is that? Norm Macdonald's out, but Bert's still cruising.
Bert's journey to an inevitable premature death is going to be one of the most well-documented downfalls in history. Every single person who meets him says the exact same thing. How is it possible that this guy is still alive? If overextending your welcome was a person, it would be Bert Kreischer. And just like Joe Rogan and Tom Segura, Bert figured out early on in his career that if you get everyone you know on your payroll, you'll have friends for life. These guys are like the Italian mafia, where all the made men send a cut of their earnings up the chain, and in return they have their security and welfare guaranteed by the family. You earn your stripes at the mothership, kiss the ring on JRE, then pay your dues on Kill Tony. Anyway, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss out on all my uploads throughout the week. As always, shout out to all of you who came over here from my main channel and subscribed. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for coming in.
Good to be here. Good to be back, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Nice fart, man.
I was sitting on that one for a minute.